Oh, come on. Gosh, they're not 7:39. Ooh, you don't look that good.
Is it safe to come out? Is it safe to show my ugly face? The evil dog trainer, hiding in his lair because he's upset the Snowflake Society. Anyway, that's bloody hot in there. It was bloody hot in there. I hope you're all right. I hope everyone's going to laugh. Hope you're all covered. Keep yourself out of the way of everybody else. There you go. Chris Upton in the house, not hiding from bloody no one. We don't hide from no one, trust me. Anyway, do you want to see the t-shirt before we start? Do you want to see the t-shirt? Look at that. Should we just leave it like that so you can just see the top of my head like that tonight so we can advertise? Now, the problem is I bring the trouble onto myself because I put things like this on the internet. Well, you should see what I'm having to cope with at the moment. Snowflake alert. Trust me. Snowflake alert. Anyway, so good evening, everybody. So my darling wife says she doesn't want me to talk about nothing other than dog training. So unless I see questions on there, I'm not answering them. It has to be questions. So good evening. So I'll say good evening to you, like polite as normally polite as I am. Oh, first in house, Simon Spruce. How about that? Karen, you've got turned over there. Good evening, Karen. Christopher, Paul Crocker, Steve Pace. All right, same old faces, isn't it? Eh? Same old faces. Only got about 3 fans. Can't say anything more. Can't say anything more about that. But no, I'm only here to answer questions tonight. Stu said you've got to act professional. You've done your little bit. Now act professional. Hi, what would you like to talk to you about today, children? Fire away. Shall we talk about pack mentality? No, we don't talk pack mentality. It might upset someone. We won't talk about pack mentality. Any suggestions what we talk about? What about what approach would you take to a nervous dog? Nervous around people? Impossible to say, until I've seen the dog. It depends whether the dog's very nervous, whether the dog's really nervous around people, or whether it's a different condition. So without seeing the dog, it would be impossible to say. But nervous dogs are normally caused by people who pamper them and protect them, overprotect them. Hello, Dizzy Lizzie. Pens in the house. Yes, pack mentality, please. I'm interested. I'd love that Gary Wilkes article on pack mentality. I thought it was fantastic. Did you read it? I know Karen put it up. I'd seen it before and I shared it. But how I can relate to that is because I work a pack. I work a pack of dogs out there. A pack of dogs. We watched that film. What was that film called, Susan? Jack London film. Come on. See? Memory, like a sieve.
It wasn't The Incredible Journey, was it?
The Incredible Journey.
Oh, I remember watching that.
Come on. Anybody? I did put it up for everyone to watch. Did anyone watch that film? I did put it up on Facebook for you. It was free. It was free. I paid $4.99 for it and then found it free 10 minutes afterwards. Who doesn't even know what we're talking about? Trial chatting. What next? No, I've been thrown off a group. They invited me in. They wanted my input. I was too direct and said there's people complaining because they don't want it to become a bitch fight. Well, there you go. It's not a bitch fight. It's the truth. Call of the Wild. Well done, David Jones. Thank Christ someone's watching something. Honestly, I nearly gave a squirrel skin away then. Well done, David Jones, eh? At least someone's listening. How many dogs constitute a pack? I have 3. Well, if you fell down in an heart attack in your house and you had 3 dogs, there was no one there to feed them, they would eat you. They wouldn't sit there going, this is my owner and we need an ambulance. Eventually, when they got hungry, they'd eat you. And they might even fight over you because it's the same as if you put a a tame pet rabbit that someone wants to get rid of into your rabbit pen, within 2 days it becomes wild. It goes back to its natural ability to hide. Be careful it doesn't get pounced on by other stuff. So I keep them in a big rabbit pen. Okay. Jay Booker, this is I think seeing how well other dogs have been helped balance Dougie out is fantastic, and also looking forward to Chris taking Wiz out with him to show him how he can open up, and he's got control. Yeah, no problem. And
Dizzy asked, do you think other dogs help with training certain behaviours?
yes, without fail, Penny. Yeah, without fail. And we've proved it many times. If you've got a pack that's not balanced, the good dog becomes unbalanced, right? If you've got a pack that's balanced, the dog learns from them, and the young dog will follow, and it will put a more assertive dog in its pecking order. If you've got a large pack, Susan Milan was talking about this the other day, and you know, this same person who's saying that I haven't got a clue. And some people don't like Susan Milan, but Susan Milan is very, very well followed. I don't agree with everything Susan Milan does, but I wouldn't personally rubbish the man in a nasty way. I can have my opinion, but he's dead right. He said on a film about dog food aggression, a video the other day, he said, if this dog attacked me in this scenario with my other dogs around me, they would attack him because they look after the pack leader. They side with the pack leader. And that's exactly what happened in that film, what David just said, Call of the Wild. If you watch that was 1903 by Jack London. And I remember my teacher at school reading the book, and she was a lovely teacher. She was a young teacher, and she read the book. Because I couldn't read, I sat there in awe, listening to this story, and we went through it over a number of weeks in the classes as like a school thing for English, and I absolutely loved it. And from that day, I don't know, I just think it gave me that in back of my mind, something about dogs and the way they are compared to humans. And I thought it was a lovely film because what they didn't do, they didn't rape it, they didn't rip the heart out of it and say that back then they didn't believe in pack animals. They believed in pack animals. They showed the pack theory. They showed the dogs acting in a pack. And do you know what? Although I know dogs don't swim under ice and freaking rescue people and pull them out, but it was a nice switch off time to watch that because I like dog films. I'm a big baby at heart. You all know that, don't you? A big soft at heart. Do you know what? I really sometimes think I'm a snowflake. What is your opinion on correcting a guy shy dog? Gun shy dog, I think you mean, Ben. A gun shy dog. The best way to do that, Ben, is to let the dog chase in a rabbit pen. If you've got a rabbit pen, or go and find someone who's got a rabbit pen, let the dog chase. Or if it's on a shoot and you've got lots of birds and you're dogging in, let the dog chase and then fire a shot. Trust me, while that high drive is up there, the shot will not mean nothing to the dog in the same comparison as if you sit it in a situation and you fire a shot in what we call a sterile situation, and the dog jumps out of its skin and goes, "Oh, that bothered me." It's the same as fireworks. My dogs look around for anything to pick when fireworks go off. They don't worry about fireworks, no matter what age they are. And yet, the other day I was calling Harley Quinn, and he wasn't coming to me, and he was just running around like an headless chicken because he's growing up a little bit, and that's lovely. It was because of a higher temptation of other dogs there, and I thought, is he slightly deaf, or is he deaf? So what I did is, when I fed the dogs, and I feed the dogs in the evening, I let him run up and down the kennels, even some exercise, because he's in the kennel on his own. He goes in with another dog all day, but at night time he goes in on his own so he can eat free feed when he wants to. And Katie, could you freaking stop it, please? I cried at Peter Pan. Yeah, and Dumbo with ears. They took freaking Mickey out of that poor elephant, didn't they? Hey, I don't like bullies. Anyway, go back to Harley Quinn. Thanks for interrupting me, Katie. Harley Quinn was running up and down the kennel, and he loves to grab a couple of mouthfuls of food out the bowls that get spilt in the run. And he was picking that up, and as he come up the side, I dropped a metal food bowl on purpose on the tile floor, and he jumped back. Not because of the movement, because of the noise. So, no, he's deaf. He's just pushing boundaries at the moment, and I want him to. I don't want to be giving him grief. Susan Dixon, how do I correct my 2-year-old Sprocker when walking her on a lead. Sometimes her aggression is redirection on me, and I'm sending her I am sending her signals that I am pack leader. But what would you do? Do you know what, Susan? I don't get that. I don't get it. I don't come across it. I don't get people coming here with that very often. A 2-year-old sprocker that is showing aggression towards you, then you're perhaps not showing enough discipline. But unless I saw that dog, it could be a false narrative that you're just pampering it in other areas. I don't know, because I'd have to assess you and assess the dog, and that's the only honest way with that question. Great question, but it would be so easy to say, oh, zap it, bonk it, smash it, bash it, at least tug it. Until I saw the dog and what the dog was like in a number of other areas, it would be really impossible. But at the end of the day, I would rather see the dog before making an assessment of that. And I don't mind using correction when I need to, and I don't mind teaching when to use correction. But it may be the fact that you're creating a problem because you're having a confliction of interest with each other instead of a bond, the social bond that you need. But I find in most cases, aggression like that redirected at the owner is because the dog is taken over. That's what I can say there, if that helps. Have I missed any questions up here? Further up. When you say you're taking Dougie out with the others, Chris, but not every day, is that creating the jealousy you wanted somewhat? It's creating absolute bags of desire and drive. He now wants to bolt out the kennel, bolt out the back run, and wants to come out and play. He's now looking to get into the car because too much of something every day is what's created what you've created with him, and we're having to change the mindset. So what we're having to do, we're having to go backwards to go forwards, and that's why I say it takes longer. But you cannot chastise that sort of dog that hasn't got enough drive until it says, this is interesting, bye-bye. You need to create that drive and that desire to want to be with you. His retrieving in the yard has got so much better. He's like manic for it, but he's a bit silly with it. But I can't put the pressure and say, now calm down, until I've got that drive and desire on a regular basis, not 1 day out of 3. And so that's the reason for that. I'm fascinated by pet pack mentality, absolutely fascinated by it. And at the end of the day, it's like a pack of dogs in a pen, and they're all unrelated. And you've got testosterone here, you've got dominance here, you've got some that do not want to take on the leading role and they'd rather follow. And humans are exactly the same. I think it's so close. I don't think there's nothing difficult about it. But a good pack don't need to fight all the time. You know, and a good alpha dog leads and shows protection rather than dominance. But if he has to step up and dominate, exactly what Gary Wilkes said, they will go in and they will correct. And they will correct to the level they see fit to each dog or each bitch, right? And I don't step in very often because I don't have to, because we don't get a dominance issue where they're all trying to take over to meet the next one in line. But there is definitely a pecking order in my pack. Even with the movements, they come out the yard and in the yard. They position themselves where they feel comfortable. I didn't put them in those positions. They put themselves in those positions. They show me what they're like. And that's fascinating. And don't forget, everyone, I've had hundreds of litters. I've trained hundreds of dogs, and I've always had a pack around me, right? Now, my pack might have only been 5 or 6 dogs. It's gone up to 20 odd, 25, and I run the whole lot together. We don't have any problems. But guess what we've been having lately? We go out in the backfield. There's a great big cat. Pain in the arse, this cat. It kills every songbird. It kills every baby rabbit. It doesn't take it, eat it, and you don't see anything. What it does, it kills it, drags it all over the place, and leaves it there. So every day I go out there at the moment, some dog's got a rabbit in its mouth, a rabbit's foot, half a rabbit, songbirds. We got jays, we got magpies. We got stuff coming into the trees and taking out those little songbirds, those, right? And at the end of the day, it's a war out there. It's a jungle. It's beautiful to watch nature and listen to nature, but nature can be very, very cruel. And at the end of the day, it's humans who've got this sensitive side that go, oh, you can't do that. You can't say that. I'm not suggesting, hello, Anna, how are you doing? I'm not suggesting that we go in there with aggression and nastiness on dogs. And what's happened is this disagreement with a dog trainer has created a rift between that camp and this camp. And what happened, I don't want anyone really to get involved in this argument. That's why I've been asking you. Why? Because we're above that. We don't need that. You can agree to disagree. You can debate. But if you're not going to debate and you're going to get personal, then I don't want to play the game. It's as simple as that. Because there's more to life. I want to teach. And sometimes you have to stand up for yourself and defend yourself, especially when people attack your family. That is why it got slightly personal, because of the attack on my family, right? It's not on. And it's created by that same cranky who I won every court case going. It's all up there. Because the jurisdiction in Scotland is different than the jurisdiction in England, the slander laws are different in Scotland. But if someone attacked me in England, the libel laws are the same as slander are the same, because it's England. So I have to protect my good name if someone decides to go after me in the way that this is escalated. It's not that I'm scared and I'm running. Don't need to. I don't need to. I speak my mind. No one's going to tell me I should back down and not do this or not do that. You can give me advice. Why can't you do it in Messenger? Why do you have to come onto my page and go, oh, you need to back down because you're just as bad as he is? No, I've not once rubbished him as a trainer. I asked a question. So I'm not going back to him again. But what I'm saying, everyone, is we should be able to debate. On my Patreon site, we've had, I think, 3 or 4. You guys know, 3 or 4. Oh, no, a brilliant one going up at the moment with Soul. He came on last night when we talked about the trial scene on Patreon. I was explaining that this group contacted me, asked me if I wanted to be on the group because they need people to back them in this situation. Well, I don't know what the fight is, but I'm reading it and I'm answering it, and I gave my opinion. If I'm not entitled to give my opinion, I don't want to get involved with them. I can stand alone. Do I take my hat off to them? Well, you might be going down the wrong road, because if you go after a big organization with a small amount of following, they'll just close you out. They'll send you to the outer to infinity and beyond. I've had it. It's happened to me in the trialing world. If you put your head above the parapet and you don't like injustice and you don't like bullying and you stand up for it, you can upset people. And if you don't like people like Victoria Stilwell and train, TV trainers like that, you have every right to say you don't like them and you don't think they're a dog trainer and they've never achieved anything or never had a dog and they got sued. You can say what's happened in truth, but what you can't do is say something that is not true, because that is liable. And so that's affected my business. I've lost about 7 Patreon customers. Can I live with that? I've got to. But is it affecting my business? Yeah. So what I had to do is, if you notice, my Facebook site is closed only to friends. So I may have 2,000 friends in there, but most of those people are dog people that like what I do and the way I react in life. Sometimes you're not going to like what I do. Totally understand. But you're not been under the pressure that me and Sue have been under, and you've not been sitting here. But a lot of you heard Sue distressed last week. And she was distressed because of my daughter's mental health problems. And we didn't need to tell you that, because we are quite private people, really. We don't splash everything like I'm just going for a shit on the freaking internet, right? Or, I'm just going for a walk. I'll see you in 10 minutes. I try and make it entertaining, and I try and let you into my life, but I don't let you into my life completely. You don't know what my favorite sex position is. And I'm sure Sue's not going to tell you. On the back, she says. Well, you'll just give it away, did I? Being pampered, not being dominant. You're talking about sex, because honestly, if you talk about sex, then you're a sexual predator. But I'm having to be so careful with every word I say at the moment, in case I affect somebody emotionally. So anyway, so I nearly came on here and said nothing, just let you all rant. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain in the nicest of ways. I don't need to fall out with some Churchill trainer that goes and opens fates. Leave it. Go away. Get out of my life. Let's move on. Come on, questions.
There's one here from Mike F.
I'll get this now. She's becoming Mike F. Got it. Chris, is it okay to put 8-week-old pup in a kennel by itself? How would you stop noise if you did, or would you just go out of it? Well, in the summertime, Mike, if a pup has got to come away from its litter, all of a sudden it's going to be a major shock for that pup. It's going to be like, wow. So what I tend to do a little bit is get a cage, bring the dog inside in a kitchen, and keep it, or a wash room if you've got a wash room if you're rich, or what do they call it? What do they call it? A scullery? Is that it? Is that right?
Yeah, I get you, eh?
Hey, look at me, hey, old-fashioned bastard. And what I tend to do is keep it in the cage for a few days, and then put it outside in the kennel in the cage. So the dog gets used to the cage, and I always put a radio on. I think that little bit of comfort of the radio, the pup likes. And if you bring the pup out for an hour, then put the pup back in the cage, the dog gets used to coming out and going back. But if you go to the dog every time it cries, then the dog learns all it has to do is keep crying. And sometimes Ollie's settled in absolutely fine, and Ollie's in the kennel on his own at night, but he's in the kennel at the moment with another dog. He loves other dog company now, and I want him to. I want him to be a dog and not pine for me non-stop. And I want him not to be so reliant on me, where before, when he was in a cage on his own, and he was in the cage, the cage in the conservatory when he was younger, and just me and him were interacting, and he wasn't interacting with the other dogs, he just thought I was his best friend. So it's a matter of balance. And then you stop. But if you take a dog into the house, the puppy, and you bring it in the house and you pamper it and you give it everything like that, and then you expect it to go out to the kennel, then you're going to have real problems because the dog will just howl the place down. So it's a matter of balance. But I always put a radio on. But if it's cold, it wouldn't hurt the dog being in the cage under the table. And I find under the table is fantastic because it's like a bolt hole. And you can then start to train a dog dead easy and leave the cage open so the dog can go into its cage and out of its cage. When the dog goes into its cage and lies down in its cage, it's seeing that as its secure place. And I believe that if you've got a pet indoors, and we haven't had that many pets indoors compared to working dogs, I think it's how you start off building that environment, what you want. And at the end of the day, you've got to set ground rules to start with. Someone was saying the other day, I won't say it was, but the boys know and the ladies know on my Patreon site. We're having a debate about e-collars, and he was saying about I said act of God, and he said he calls it, and I won't go into it because it'll just confuse everybody here. Lovely lad, and he was keen, and I give him a platform to actually have a debate with me, and he wants to do part 2. And I'm not going to mention his name because if other people are listening, they may drag him, because at the moment people are being so judgmental and go, well, if you're watching Chris Upton or talking to Chris Upton, then you agree with Chris Upton, and you're not a mate of mine. It's pathetic. Get a set of balls. Get a backbone. And this is the problem. When it all kicked off last time, we have to do damage limitation, because when you've got 10,000 people attacking you, we haven't got nowhere near that now. It's just blowing over to a bloody load of wet farts, to be honest with you. But at the end of the day, when you had 10,000 people attacking you, because this one person in Scotland who had no credibility, she wasn't well known, she was just a freaking dancing dogs with treat training. She just plastered it everywhere with an obsession, and she's still plastering it everywhere with an obsession. But like I say, like a virus, you can't get rid of that. You just got to live with it. You got to learn to live with it. But what's happened is, like I said, she has used this trainer for her own agenda to sell her lies and her bullshit. And he's fallen hook, line, and sinker for it because he thinks that makes him more feasible with, and he's playing the victim. Well, as long as he keeps her, like Sue just said, as long as he keeps her, he's done us all a freaking favour. Because I've been trying to get rid of her for freaking 7 years, nearly 10. Yeah. And I spoke to the firearms department, because the first thing I've got to do, the firearms department said, if anyone kicks off, just let us know. Let us know what's happening. We'll have a look at it just to make sure, because we're fed up with people ringing up and going, oh, he's threatening people on the internet. He's being rude. He needs his guns taken off him. because that's what she's saying. She's saying this man has got guns, and if you say he's aggressive, they will go straight round and take his guns. They're sick and tired of going to court with me. So eventually we've got it sorted out. And what did she do? What does she do? She turns around and says, the police are in my pocket. The firearms department are my friends. Oh yeah, they were my friends when they came around and took me frigging guns off me when I'd done nothing wrong. So she's laughing. Sue's laughing. Yes, Sue's laughing. She's laughing. Sue's laughing, everyone. I'm getting frigging triggered. But like I say, I don't want to talk about the situation, but you have to realise the pressure that we've been under. And we could now have somebody ring the bell now and say an allegation's been made and we'll have to, for the protection of society. But no, guess what? Every time a call comes in at the firearms department, they go away unless you've got evidence. Send us the evidence. Because they sat in the court on I think the 19th of 2019, December, when we won the court case outright. We won everything we applied for, and she didn't even want to bring any evidence to court because she didn't have any. She made the court look. She made the police, Devon and Cornwall police, look stupid. She made the Scottish police look stupid. And now, because we set a precedent in the dog training world, you can't be prosecuted for using discipline. You can't be prosecuted for telling someone to fuck off and get on with their life. If someone, you can't be prosecuted for offending someone who won't leave you alone. You have a right to say, do one, right? But you've got to act within the law. And that's what I've tried to do. I've tried to moderate myself because I've got a potty mouth if someone's rude to me, but I've had to learn, because I'm a shotgun licensed person, to be more not compassionate, but not let the side down. Not let the side down, because guess what? If I lost my guns and did something stupid, that would not help the shooting community. What I've done is help the shooting community to say they can't bully us. Mrs. McDonough. Yeah, do you know what? She told the police that it upset her because I called her a snowflake, or I called her the bunny boiler. And it was on all the court stuff. And the judge was like looking at it going, why hasn't she had psychiatric help? Has anyone done it? You know, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, but they're not allowed to say it. Because if you're mentally ill, it's you've got to seek the help. You can't say somebody's mentally ill.
Yeah, but if you're mentally ill, you don't realise.
You don't realise you're mentally ill. Hang on, Sue just said it. So there you go. I think she's on form now.
And if some people,
you can't debate with idiots. You're dead right, Paul. You're absolutely dead right.
And she's an idiot with a capital bloody I.
Oh, Sue's coming out of the freaking pond now, isn't she?
You've got a question here which is quite important.
Come on then, fire away. Who is it?
Anna Hay.
Anna Hay. Anna Hay. Hello, Anna. How do I get my dog to swim? He will go in, but no swim. Even high value rewards. What do you mean high value rewards? What are you doing? Throw him a fish. Sue said. She's on form, everyone. She's come out of that freaking shell of that mental case the other day. Last week, wasn't she on fire? Wasn't she? Jesus Christ! I nearly switched off the freaking light feed in case she freaking nailed me. She was rocking, wasn't she? She was rocking. You can see when she gets upset. You can see why I don't push little secret Sue, can't you lot? Hey, a woman scorned. Anyway, back to Anna. I don't know if you're throwing a fish. It's dead simple. It's really simple. What you've got to do, you've got to find a little ford or a brook and walk through it yourself. You know, walk across it yourself and let the dog follow. Go across the other side. Don't say nothing. Just go across the other side. So the dog's got to come with you to stay with you, and you'll find the dog will walk through it, no problem. Then you start to find deeper water. But if you've got a pond that's got a deep drop into it, that can put dogs off. So you want to look for what we call the short. When you're actually going up a river and you're looking to navigate I say passage. Don't you start getting rude, you lot. And you want to find the deep water. What you do, you keep the high land, the high ground, to the side where you are on the riverbank. If it's low, that means it's coming out low into the water, and so if you go over that side, it won't be so deep. And that's the same scenario as if you're going into a deep area and you can't walk in there yourself, why would you expect a young dog who's a little bit sort of, oh, I don't want to go in there? And if you're making too much of it, it causes a problem. I have had the odd few dogs that really are nervy about water, and because we live near water and we can go down on the Barbican, we can go down on the steps on a high tide, drop the dog into the water, like throw the dog into the water, not in a nasty way, just put the dog in the water, and it's got to turn around and swim back because it can't get out other than back up the steps. So it goes back, it goes out and comes back up, and you just put it back out again. And that is the last resort, but it works. It works a treat. Some people go, oh my God, he's thrown a dog in the frigging water now. But no, that is a last resort, because if the dog does one way back, it will have to swim. But I would nurture it and take it through all different stages first. Okay. Protect the business. I've got to, Paul, this time, because last time the police have admitted they got it wrong. They've apologized. Certain officers have apologized. The conversation with the firearms department was absolutely fantastic. He said, do you know what the biggest mistake was, Mr. Upton? They gave her a direct line to the firearms department because they actually believed her. And by God, she's used it. We used to get 2 calls a week from the bloody woman. In the end, we stopped answering it. We stopped talking to her. Well, that's what you've got to do, isn't it? Because once you realize someone is so, so obsessed with someone, it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And the stuff she's coming out with is absolutely farcical. Anyway, this trainer's now got a new girlfriend. He likes it. Hopefully he likes him, doesn't he? He does like him, doesn't he? Yeah, I've had to deal with him. I've probably had to deal with about 70 women that send me a stupid message, and I just flick on their thing and I see these little fat dogs on couches, and I just think, yeah, bandana on it, yeah. And I think straight away, that's it. And do you know what? I deal with so many pet people, stroke gun dog people, but I deal with gun dog people who've got gun dogs. I don't want to deal with your Dalmatian. I mean, I put a picture up of a Dalmatian with pups because we had pups this week. And someone said, can you put up a picture of the pups? And I did it for a joke. And someone says, and I said, we've had what, 4 boys, 5 girls. Yeah? Yeah, 4 boys, 5 girls. And the Dalmatian had 13 or 12 or something like that. And someone said, I don't get it. I don't get. And I thought, you're having a freaking laugh, aren't you? You're having a laugh. But the thing is, I got to let people in, because as long as they're not rude, but we've got to be careful, because I do not want in-house fighting on my Facebook page. I won't have it. People are entitled to freedom of speech. People can say what they feel. People can be rude. When I say rude, they can use language, but as long as it's not all the time in people's faces all the time, because we've got a lovely group of people that we very seldom have a fallout on my Facebook page. But my Facebook page is closed to the outside world. So why are they being so judgmental and saying he bullies people, he does this, he does that? Because they're jealous. They're jealous. But they're not bothering these people. They're just pet people. They're just church-all pet people. So we're moving on. No problem, Anna. No problem at all. You shouldn't be so charismatic. Stop it, honestly. Hey, I tell you, you running after that dog. I've seen it. I've seen that running. Not bad for a 50-year-old. Hey, Sue's not here. Yeah, like button. Should we talk about the like button and the thumbs down? I love it. I do. It's like being in the gladiatorial ring, isn't it? I get a kick when they go, "Whoa, you bastard!" When I've pissed them off, when I've made their hero look rather silly. Well, I didn't make him look silly. He made himself look silly. But anyway, dead right, Chris. There you go. And the whole point of it is, you are such a nice group of people, because some of you have gone there, gave comments. Some of you, it's up to you. I've not asked anyone to go there. Some of you have been very diplomatic and said some wonderful things, because I know what people you're like. And people have been screenshotting stuff and sending me everything that's negative. And I've seen some of your nice comments. But then all of a sudden your comments disappear, because he's controlling the argument. He's controlling his Facebook. So it shows that because his Facebook is open to the world, because he wants to get as much feedback off this, and everyone go, you're a hero, that man was bullying a dog. So here we go. Kira, Chris, how do you introduce a new dog to a pack? Well, What do you mean introduce a new dog to a pack? You take it home, you keep it separately for a day, and then you put it into your, if you've got an enclosed yard, you bring it out with one dog, two dogs, or you can just take it in the field with the whole pack. If you've got a balanced pack's not going to attack a new dog, and a new dog would normally, because of the pecking order, and be slightly intimidated by a group, like a lot of people won't go on groups and make comments because of the fear of the backlash of being attacked by the group. The other dogs, as long as they're balanced, they won't attack that dog, but that dog will think, hang on, why have I got so many dogs around me? And he'll be a bit sheepish, as we say. But then all of a sudden you'll see the confidence come up when the other dogs aren't blustering him and jumping in, or her, and going, who are you? What are you doing on my patch? This is my house. Don't have that. I don't have that, because there's one leader. It's me. So that's that way. But if you've got 2 or 3 dogs that are snarling with each other, and there's a real little packing order in that, and that's what happens if you allow them to take over, they become the top dog. And so the top dog leads. He shows leadership. It doesn't mean he has to be cruel. It's so important. That video I put up, I put it on Facebook and YouTube, and I did a number of versions. I did a speak over version, and then I did the video, but I only put the video up on Facebook, on YouTube, because I wanted to show, what did I say to that guy? I said gameplay, and that dog was flying. That dog has so much drive and desire. But if you notice the video, and the guys on Patreon will know, I said, notice the dog when he bends over to stroke it, the dog backs off. There was a breakdown in the relationship. The dog should not be backing off. But if you're bending down fast and you're a big guy and you've been giving the dog a little bit of chastisement because you're not getting where you want to go because you're rushing it, sometimes that can be intimidating to the dog, so the dog will back off. It's all to do with movement and timing, and that's what I do. I read all those things. It's really important. Denver Skinner, is it okay for a lab to chase a bird flying? I know you say with spaniels it's okay, but is it okay for labs? Yeah, I mean, don't let it become a really, really crazy habit forming, but the dog soon learns it can't catch the bird. And if it's running around in the sky, seeing a bird coming across, don't worry about it. It's swallows. I mean, saw swallows this week for the first time I did. So they're here, they've arrived. So summer's here, isn't it? And it was nice. And the young dog was like, wow, what's all this? And it was great fun watching the little swallows jinking in and out of the dog. And he come alive. He's like, wow, it's part and parcel of life, isn't it? If you chastise the dog for everything it does wrong, it's the same with the e-collar. We were talking about the e-collar on Patreon, and we were saying that act of God and act of God and act of God. So if it goes towards a snake, zap it. If it gets counter surfing, zap it. If it goes near it, if it wets on the carpet, zap it. No. Teach it, educate it. I mean, I don't know what Penny thinks. I mean, I know she does use an e-collar. She doesn't mind me saying that she does. On the odd occasion, she'll use an e-collar, no problem at all. But I don't use e-collars for everything. And I do believe that go and learn to train a dog and then start using the e-collar as an extra instrument. And that's what I do believe. I do believe that. But I do believe they're a fantastic tool, and they make things so much easier. But as soon as you talk about it, especially when you're being attacked, they'll go, he can't train a dog. He uses an e-collar on every dog. Well, crack on, get on with it. There's no point in worrying what people say about you all the time. It's only when it gets real personal, and that's what it's about. Peter Taylor, hi Chris. Have you ever had a bitch become the top dog? Yes, without fail. And the scientists, the people who do it will go alpha, omega, beta. But my bitch is not the most stroppy bitch. If someone goes through the gate before she does, sometimes she turns and goes, get out of it. I'm first one through there. But she's got to be careful, because she drops to me and is very subservient to me, because she knows that she doesn't want to push her place. But in her mind, she thinks she's second in command. Rafa is such a character. He's a different beast altogether, because he's been messed up because of the environment he came from. He's such a loving dog, but he's had to have a little bit of, hey, back down, stop being a little cocky git. And he's still got that lovely attitude. But I was explaining yesterday as well that Rafa doesn't need an e-collar now in a normal environment. Would Rafa go wrong? Maybe, but guess what? My voice control will stop Rafa in his tracks. in a normal situation now if I change my voice tone. If I'm screaming at my dogs all the time, those dogs just get used to that and take no notice of it. But if I change my tone of the voice, because when I'm being friendly with him, I'm being slightly silly, like, good lad, go on in. And he loves that because he knows that's friendly, and he gets a bit silly and he gets a bit dominant. But it's a balancing act. You've got to keep it to that level. And what I'm saying is, then when I change, because he's been grabbing, I don't know if I told you, he's been grabbing the balls with fat balls with seeds in. The bloody cat or something, not fox or something, is nicking them and bringing him into the field. And Rafa's been grabbing them. Anyway, he had a rabbit foot in his mouth yesterday, and I went, leave it, and he went, fucking spat it right out. Why? Because he's had 3 occasions where he's not let it go, and I've gone over him and I've corrected him, and I've not beat him up. I've opened his mouth out, I've taken it out and go, get it, and thrown him across very gently away from me to say, I'm not happy, you didn't let it go. Now it's like, let it go, because he knows he doesn't want the confrontation. That's not getting into a confrontation with your dog, then, and into a fight with your dog. He can't bite me with something stuck in his mouth, but he can bite me if I go after him in a nasty way and I corner him, and I wouldn't blame him. If I got bit by Rafa, it would be my own fault for not reading the situation. But do I want to make him aggressive? No, I don't. Not at all. Some great points there, Chris. I agree. There is no easy way for training. You have to do the work. Exactly, Pen. That's the whole point. And that's what we're here for. We're here to teach. And you know, you don't get 3.5 million views, 7,000 subscribers in the short period of time that I did that YouTube channel without people enjoying what they were doing. And the great feedback I've had since the videos have come down and said it's an absolute shame and that bloke's a scumbag. Fine, you say what you like about him, but I'm a bit cheesed off that I'm still fighting YouTube to try and get my videos back. But I don't know if you guys know that a number of people on YouTube are coming off YouTube because of the changing of the rules, and they're just going down that money orientated route. Well, they're a business, they've got to, they're big business, aren't they? And Joe Rogan, he's coming off and going over to Spotify. A lot of people are going over to Spotify rather than Patreon. Well, I'm just going to have to say, but I think they paid him. Well, if you put Joe Rogan in, how much did he get for selling out to Spotify? And yet he's still going to have videos on YouTube, because YouTube is a massive platform, bigger than Patreon would ever get, because they come in there for free and then they can pay for it if they want to pay for it. But I gave all that work for free, and I wasn't being attacked in a massive way. I was to begin with when it all kicked off, but I turned it all around, and to start again, that's what you were worried about, isn't it, Sue? All going off again, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, because I mean, yeah, you do every time she kicks off, you think, oh no, yeah.
And we knew as soon as she got involved with him, he'd feed off her, she'd feed off him, instead of it's a debate about dog training. And that's what it was. Everybody knows when they look at it, it was a debate about dog training. But it's now taking sides and getting his fan base to follow him and support him. I don't care. I don't want to go down that road and fight. I want to move on and answer questions, to be honest with you. It's as simple as that. I said I wasn't going to talk about it. Sue said, you don't talk about it, just answer questions. It's very difficult when you're dealing with it all the time. You wouldn't believe how many people I've had to just throw off the site at the moment on Patreon. Not Patreon, on YouTube. Hi, Chris. Are you working your own dogs on any shoots next season? Yeah, I will do, hopefully. But I'll definitely be shooting over them if we're allowed to shoot. Yeah, but I think we will. Richard Gould, have you ever had to wreck? What? Have you ever had to wreck? What the hell does that mean, Richard?
No, I was reading that. You got me on that.
You've got us on that one, Richard. Anybody can guess that one, can you? Sue's had a message retracted.
No, because I kind of lost myself for a minute, and then
Isn't it funny, everybody? Why have we not got the hate mob coming in here that we're having to throw them off? Because really, I'm not saying anything out of place, and yet we seem to have quite a nice group, and we get the odd person. But thank Christ we got spanners in here, because I don't mind if someone come on here and they wanted to debate with me in a rational manner, or ask questions of why I did this or why I did that. I'd answer those questions. But if anyone comes in here rude or just patronizing, looking for a bitch fight, then that's what we've got spanners here for. We believe in freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of speech, and that's the most horrible thing about it. I will defend your right to freedom of speech, but what I won't defend, I'm always offended. Defend. I won't defend bullying. That bullying and lying really cheeses me off. Richard, lately I've rewatched a few Spaniel Championship dog runs on YouTube and thought quite a few dogs, when cast off, ran forward and missed ground straight away. How much will a judge not this? But a lot of judges wouldn't be able to read a good dog to save their lives, but most championships, there should be quality judges there, Richard. There should be quality judges there. This is what's happening with this this big fallout at the moment. I was talking to Soul last night on Patreon, and we're putting it on Patreon for everyone to listen to. And I think you might find the conversation very interesting, Richard, because Soul has got a pet hate. It's his pet hate about the way the Kennel Club dictate what we can do and what we can't do in the dog training world, when their main interest is the pet people. You know, their registrations and pet people outweigh anything. And we've been sold down the river by the Kennel Club. It's as simple as that. As soon as you say it, anybody on the Kennel Club in the gun dog world, oh, he's at Upton's having a go again. No, I'm just speaking my mind. I'm speaking my mind, no different than Keith Erlington used to. Right? But we have now got a big platform. We've got a bigger medium, where before you had to buy his book and read his stuff or buy the magazines. Now we've got a platform, but this platform is dangerous. It's a double-edged sword. It can ruin your business, but it can also highlight you for the person you are, and some people might like it. So I've got friends who contacted me when I got introduced into that group, and they spoke to me in private, and I will not say what was said in private. That's not on, but it was very encouraging what they're trying to do. I don't think they'll do it. I'm not a negative person, but I don't think they'll do it. And I think Solar's got a point, because if you're not happy with the system, don't try and fight it. Don't try and change it. Not when you're a minority. It won't happen. You'll just get cast aside as troublemakers. That's what they do. Do you know there's threats of violence, there's threats of bullying? People are phoning people up saying, if you talk about me or you do this, it's ridiculous. It's childish.
There's someone speaks who's read the book, got the t-shirt.
Yeah, been there, had it, talked about it. Why? Hang on, just you know what? I'm on a roll, and everyone. And what happens? She jumps in and she tries to change the direction. I'm not going down the road completely, but Richard asked a question, and he asked a good question, and I'm answering the question in a roundabout way, because it's exactly about the judging. Some judges will overlook that because it's a friend, and other judges will pull you up for it. But they won't pull you up and go, you're out of the competition, not unless a bird got up. And the rule is, if you've passed the bird and the dog's passed the bird, technically you should be put out if the bird gets up and you've missed ground. So if the judge is watching you and the dog's not covering good ground, he's not going to give you a win if he knows what he's doing, but he's not going to put you out, but he's going to mark you down on the scores. But if a bird gets up where the dog has covered and missed that because of what we call bad ground treatment, then technically you should be going home. Right, because it's missing game, right? Simple as that. But the thing is, as well, especially partridge will run. So I've been in bracken before, and the dog's covered it, and then all of a sudden the partridge has done a U-turn and gone back onto the cover and come out behind you. As long as the dog spins onto it and takes the line and produces it back onto you, then a good judge will say, bloody hell, that's a good dog. He actually turned into that and took the line, because they got into the cover and took the line. I have been in a situation where the judge said, I should really put you out because you're missing game. And the other A-panel judge, the other judge was watching, said, no, that dog did brilliant. He said he covered that ground because I watched him, but when he got in front, he turned, he winded it and came back on the scent trail and brought that bird into the air. It was shot, it was picked. So it's all to do with the judges. And the problem is, if you've got bent judges, that's no good. And not all judges are bent. Some judges don't have a clue. A lot of judges ain't got a backbone to stand up to bullies, and they fear the bullies. I could tell you a few stories that I was told yesterday, and Sue was here and she can confirm this, but we won't talk about the stories, and we won't say who we were talking to. And we talked to a number of people yesterday about this incident because they're trying to work out what to do. and they're asking me if I've got, can they use the evidence that I've got? Well, if I'm not involved, no, you can't. You've not helped me in the gun dog world since all the shit hit the fan. I stand alone and happily stand alone. And perhaps that's what you have to do if you get above the parapet and you're perhaps too honest. I mean, some people are very clever. I mean, I've got a friend who's an A-panel judge, and I call him the wiry fox, silver fox. Why? Because he knows when to freaking press buttons and annoy people and get his point across. And other times, you could say it's slightly sneaky. He's friendly with that person, but really watching them in a different way. But you could say it's cleverer. So we all handle things in life different, don't we? We all handle things different. Okay, so I love making that little thumbs down just to say, hello, I'm Sneaky Snake. I'm here. Yeah, there you go. That's the way. Evening, Chris. Colin Brumble. Evening, Chris. Have you got an update of the release of your book where I can see the videos that have been deleted? Hey, hang on.
Where can I see the videos that have been deleted?
Hang on.
Unfortunately, can you?
No, Chris. Have you got an update of the release? Two questions. Sorry, I thought it was. Sorry, my fault. The release of the book. I'm in pieces with the book. I am struggling. I am trying my best. Do you know what they say about writer's block? I've taken that much out of it because, like I said to you before, when I wrote it, and I've had to split it because it's just too much volume. They want it compressed. They want it 2 volumes, but they still want it compressed. And it's like I've taken so much out of it because of I named names. I was bitter. I was angry when I wrote the first book. And I think you do your best work when you're angry. Put me under pressure. I do my best work. I don't mean it's the most sensible work sometimes, but it comes from the heart. And I like that raw stuff. I mean, I've been watching that basketball thing on Netflix. Everyone's talking about it with Michael Jordan. Do you know what? If you're going to be a sportsman and you want to win, you've got to be motivated and you've got to have that sort of attitude to drive other people around you. But after a while, when you get my age, is it really that important? Is it really that important? Do you lose a little bit of that testosterone and you don't want to be the same sort of person you were 30 years ago? You know, I don't know. You know, I still got desires and I still got drives, but not perhaps driven in the same way. It's better to have a happy wife and a happy family than, you know, just chasing your dream and being pig-headed. And one of the hardest things to do is, because I've got that nature that if you piss me off, I'll come after you. I'll fight you. I don't mean. I mean, they used to say, you know, gloves off. Come on, any way you want to deal with it. But as you get older, surely we get wiser, and surely we don't have to act in the same way. But it doesn't mean you still haven't got that your blood, the same blood that you've got that mental state that you want to. Someone rubbishes you personally like that, you want to go after them. Mental, she's on. She's censoring me against it. And this is what happens. You've got this little parrot on your shoulder called Secret Sue on this shoulder going, no, don't do it. No, don't do it. And then on this one, you've got rip his freaking head off. Bury him in the garden. So
you end up with a happy.
What happened is I got to put him in the box, right, and put a lid on it, right. Don't talk to my family like that. Nope. Back in the box, right. On in this one, and then when Kate freaking got name, I don't know if you also. I'm not going to say what was said. Julia Roberts. She goes, go after it now, Rocky. But it lasted about 3 days, and then it's like, no, calm down. So there you go, everyone. So there you go. That's what I'm having to live with at the moment. I've got a conscience on this shoulder, sense and sensibility on this shoulder, testosterone still sitting in this body, and I keep thinking, just go out and train dogs and shut up.
You end up with a happy medium then.
No, we don't end up with a happy medium because sometimes I feel that I'm softening too much. What is the best way to stop a pup mouthing a ball or dummy whilst they are sat waiting for you to take it off them? Well, don't make them sit and wait to take it off them. Just take it off them. Don't make a big thing of it. Why would you want to sit and make them wait too long, Ian? Just don't do it too long. Too many people want perfection and they become obsessed with perfection. Dog comes back with a ball, take the ball off the dog. Tell the dog to sit, take the ball off the dog. If the dog doesn't sit, let the dog sit. But if I don't even always do that when the dog comes back, I just take the retrieve off the dog. I don't make it sit. So I'm not creating a problem. You can overdo it with obsessive obedience training or too much. Sometimes less is more. And I always say that, don't I? So as for my book, Colin, if you want your quid back, if you sent me a quid like a load of people did, or £2 on it if you want it signed, I will give you your money back if you want your money back. But I'm not saying that's not happening. It's there. But to be honest with you, I am so busy because of this Peter Kane shit. I was getting well into the book, but I'm banging up videos on Patreon. I'm dealing with customers on the phone. I'm talking to people on live feed. My wife wants me all the time. Honestly, I'm really wanted at the moment. Right? We've never spent so much time together. We're getting divorced as soon as they let us out. She's seeing us this, so I'm seeing mine as soon as we can get out. But at the moment, we're on lockdown together. As soon as the office is open, we're off. Sue says, I hope they open up for the Corals next week. I'm going back to work. Do you know what, everyone? Reality, we've never spent so much time together. But you know, I love her dearly. She's lovely, really. Okay. What's it like to be wanted all the time, Chris? Yeah, exactly. Speaking of pups, how's your 9 doing? Video going up tomorrow on Patreon. I may stick it up on Facebook for everyone to see as well. But yeah, they're a nice litter. They come on really well. The mother's done really well. And I think they're 6 days old. 6 days old? 6 days old? I think.
Yeah, it's Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, so isn't it nice, everybody, that last week Sue was in such a distressed state because of all this shit, and at least he's feeling a little bit better, and you can tell, can't you, in the background. So let's have a bollocks for Sue, shall we? No, don't get your bollocks out for Sue. I said, let's have a bollocks for Sue. You dirty bunch of bastards. Honestly, there we go. They're talking about bollocks again, those dirty bastards on that site. We must confuse them something chronic, you know, with some of the stuff we come out with, honestly.
Andy.
I bet they're all going, I bet they come on and go, he's upset everyone on his site. They're all saying bollocks.
Andy says bollocks.
Andy can't spell. Bollocks. Yeah, it had to be different, didn't you, Andy? It had to be different. It's been bloody what to do any training today at the moment. Exactly. We went out this morning and that's it. And we didn't even leave the dog in the dog crates in the dog boxes in the yard because by the time the sun came around about 11 o'clock, it was absolutely roasting. But they just lie on their backs in the kennel. They quite switch off quite nice. My dogs do. My dogs jump up like crazy when I go in the kennel or Sue goes in the kennel. And they only jump up because they think they get jet sprayed with Sue in the kennel because she cleans up the shit. With me, it's like, we're going out. Take me, take me, take me. There was a question there. Chris, what Keith Erlinson's book would you recommend? Well, I think all he's done is he just upgraded them and changed them a little bit. There wasn't a massive amount. His early book was more about politics because he was being nobled at the time. I think his best book is the one with the spaniels jumping in the air as an all-round book. So if you see what you put in Keith Ernst to see the spaniel jumping in the air trying to catch a bird, I think I've had 3 of them over the years, but I've got one now. I did have 150 books. And I'd read them so many times, and I was moving over to the internet and stuff like that, and it was just taking up so much room. I took them down and sold them. And do I regret it? Yeah, in a way, because I do like my books, even though I'm dyslexic, and I have to, excuse me, I have to read them a couple of times before it gets into understanding some of the stuff. But as a reference book, they were fantastic. But I've been doing it that long, and they were there for those many years. I took them down the road and sold them all. And then I missed some of them, went back in and bought some of them back. The ones I really missed. And I think I bought about 10 of them back out of 150.
Actually, Kieran McGrath is asking Chris, what Keith Erlinson's book would you recommend?
Is she drunk or something?
Oh, you just asked that one. So I'm trying to look at the questions.
Is that woman? Is that woman in the background losing the plot?
I'm looking through the questions that you missed. Would you have? So I didn't hear that one.
I took my dog to Oakley River today, and he's trying to cool down. Yeah, that's exactly what you should be doing in this weather. Just giving them a swim. Just giving them a swim. Dizzy Lizzie. I keep saying Dizzy Lizzie for some reason because I'm dyslexic. It says dizziness. That's Penny. She does me head in because what she does, I know her name's Penny, but she tries to confuse people. Yeah, I'm not daft. Yes, I agree. Too much control and making big deal of something can create problems. Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? It's like there's nothing finer than a dog following you without a lead. There's nothing finer that dog's not going to break away because you haven't trained him on a lead, but you trained him to want to be with you. There's nothing finer than not having to call the dog, come on, come on, come on, come here, and he's there with you and he's looking for it or she's looking for it. And if you get into the mindset that I show you, that's exactly what you'll have. You'll have that, and that's important. And I was talking to a number of people on my Facebook page, and I was not rubbishing food trainers. I do not rubbish food trainers. I rubbish vending machine feeders. You know, that they just give the dog food. But if you're going to do obedience or you're going to do a certain agility, then perhaps if that's what you want to use, then use it. But don't come into my world telling me what I should be doing just because you use that. I don't need to pair everything with food. I don't need to pair the e-collar with every training command that I want. But do I use cues? I mean, Penn's seen it. You know, I use exactly the same markers and cues. And we use the ball and we use gameplay, but we use discipline at the right time. And do I have to be firm on the odd dog at the right time? Yes, I do. Do I hold resentment for it? No, I don't hold those nasty feelings. I've never gone after a dog with aggression and anger. I've been cheesed off. I put the dog away. It's simple as that. Because all you'll do is scare the dog if you're a big guy like me. And that will then take you months on some softer dogs to get them back. And so the idea is to nurture. I'll write your book. This is your life. Oh, Jesus Christ, Kate. Honestly. She's got fur babies, my daughter. All these years that she lived with us and she saw how we treat dogs, she's got fur babies. Now, do I say to her, you're an idiot. You shouldn't have them on the settee. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be. No, it's her life. She's got to do what she wants. She loves the dogs. And I think she loves the dogs because of the little Cairn Terrier we had and all the dogs around her. And when she was young, someone said to me about the photo, is your daughter. And I love that photo for one reason. She was at her most innocent because she loved her dad at that time. I'm not saying she never, ever stopped loving me, but she went through a bit of a shitty stage at 17. And she'll tell you. And, you know, kids, it's like that saying, isn't it? If kids haven't hated you at one point in your life, you're not doing a proper job. You know, it doesn't mean you hate them. It means, but do you get the feeling like you bugger you know, you stroppy little mare? Yes, you do. But it's wonderful when they come back and they go, now I'm going through it, you bastards. But as long as we give her structure and balance, and we show the good and the bad. I don't mean bad in a nasty way, but there's got to be consequences if you push boundaries. Like even if you say, right, you're going to bed early, you're not watching that, or you're 10 minutes late.
No, she knows why.
Now she knows why. Because it's scary as parents, because you love your kids. But that doesn't mean you don't discipline them. But society has now said, oh no, you don't discipline them, you turn into crazy motherfuckers. No, you don't. It's how you discipline. It's when you use it. If you use it sparingly. If you use it sparingly, frighten the shit out of them when you do use it because they're not seeing it on a regular basis. It's the ones that got hardened up and beaten in life. That's what I feel sorry for because it just hardens you up. And the more people I deal with of negative and attack me, that just hardens me up. In the end, you just go, I don't give a shit that you call me a fat bastard. It doesn't bother me. You know, it's petty words, isn't it? But go after me family. Or go out of your way to lie to close my business down, and that's a different kettle of fish. Hello, Pierre. How are you doing? Sorry, guys, just got in. What have you been up to? You naughty man, you. I bet you've been to the beach today, haven't you, Pierre? Peter Taylor, I had Jax out the other day, and a lady asked if she could stroke him. I would have said, only if you stroke me first.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. I smiled and said, yes, but he wasn't bothered at all about her and was totally focused on me. And the woman said, he loves you, doesn't he? That's lovely. And that's the case, isn't it? Because if you've got that bond with that dog. But I can tell you this as well, though. I've had friends who've got kids and their wives and their kids pamper the hell out of the dogs, and they kiss them and they grope them and they stick their tongue on in their mouth. And I just think, so, oh, that's not for me. That's not for me. And Kate does it a little bit, but nowhere near like I've seen some people. And then one day, they said that she went up to the cage. It was really a hot day, and she bent down to just kiss the dog, and the dog bit her on the face here. Well, the dog wants to go out. The dog wants to be with the owner, and so the possessiveness was like, get off, leave me alone. It was hot. The dog was flustered. He just wanted to be left alone, not pampered like that. These working dogs have got that mindset that they focus on me. And Penny will tell you that because she was here for a week, and they are focused on me. She can do anything she wants in the field. If I'm in the field, the dog don't want to know her. She could have a treat full of treats, and there's nowhere on that earth are those dogs going to be interested in those treats compared to me. And that's the difference between getting that bond, that social bond between you and the dog, and that leadership bond that you don't allow the dog to take over, but you're not being a bully to the dog. And this is what these people aren't looking at. I had one plank of a woman, and I'm not being rude, I'm a plank of a woman, right? Came on and said, that video with the puppies, why are you using a fishing rod? That's scary. They're unsure. Fishing rod? There's no fishing rod. I had a GoPro on a ski stick, and I had the GoPro at the bottom of it, so you could see the puppies low down, so it gave you that like you were with the puppies. It's what they use in the films, like a prop. And I thought, I can't believe how pathetic you people are. You're coming in, you can't find nothing, but you're just making stupid comments. And that's the problem, isn't it? The people out there are so judgmental. I don't know what you're talking about, on your head. So, okay, any more on here? Hi, Chris, what DVD would you recommend? David Lissett or Edward Martin or Simon Tyers? Well, that would be really good, wouldn't it, John Griffiths, if I started picking them out there, wouldn't it? That would, if I said David Lissett, Edward Martin and Simon Tyers would be pissed off. If I said vice versa, they would be pissed off. You might think they're not, but some people can be quite sensitive. Let me give you a rundown. I haven't seen Simon Tyers' full video, right? Not his full video. I've seen parts of it. David Lissett's, yes, the 5 video set that he was selling, I've seen it. It's very glossy, very professional, lovely, quiet-spoken bloke. Comes across as Mr. Nice Guy. At the end of the day, I'm going to be very. I'm trying to be totally honest here without upsetting anybody. It's too glossy for me. It's too glossy. I'm glad I watched it. Yeah. Did I pay 150 quid for it, whatever it is? No, I paid a tenner for it. So at the end of the day, but someone borrowed it and they haven't brought it back, or it was here and someone took it. I don't know. I can't find it anywhere, absolutely anywhere. But the problem is I lend stuff out and I got that much stuff. I can't remember who I borrowed it to or who lent it to. I should write a book really and go, you've got that. Give me your phone number and give me a deposit and I'll give it back. But at the end of the day, I try and help anybody who comes here. So let's now talk about Edward Martin. Edward Martin's video was a nice video to watch in the 80s. Enough said. I'm not being rude. What I want to do, I want to see a training DVD out there with people with problem dogs and how to sort the problem dogs out and how to get those dogs to change straight away. And that's what you see with me. That's why I've got the following I've got. I wouldn't rubbish any of those trainers, right? Those are successful trainers in their time. Edward Martin was a successful trainer. Do I like everything he does? No. Do I like some of his stuff? Yes. David Lissett, right up there, you know, probably one of the top 5 people in the country. You could argue Simon Tyers has been successful. At the end of the day, each to their own, and I don't think we should be too critical about other people's videos. But I don't mind you asking me the question, John, but I think I've answered it the best I can, to be honest with you. I don't want to go into detail on a live feed why I. What look at it this way. David Lissett's video, he shows you all these lovely kennels, beautiful kennels, absolutely spotless. And he's always dressed immaculately. Go and watch Ian Openshaw. He looks like a tramp sometimes. But he produces dogs, doesn't he? And he wins with dogs. And he's out shooting over them. And he's obsessed with winning. We've all got our traits. We've all got our good points. We've all got our negative points. And the skill is watching them all and coming up with what you want. So would I go and buy just one DVD? No. But I don't honestly know what I would suggest there. I would probably go for the David Lissett. Right, okay. Does that help you? But like I said, in Simon Tyre's defense, I've only seen some of that video. Okay. Okay. Is that a different letter now?
Yeah, like this. J. Answer my questions, Chris.
Can you see my questions, Chris? Well, I've been answering a few of them, Jay, but I mean, you're not the only one in the house. What do you want me to answer now? So I'll go back a little bit further. Dizziness? No.
2056.
Betty Swallocks. Is that what you're on about? Oh, I've noticed when Dougie comes into you, Chris, and sometimes you ask him to sit, he lays down instead of that. Is that likely to change in the future? Listen, trust me, that's the freaking least of your problems at the moment, boy, with that dog. If that dog lays down, it means I don't have to chase him, do I? But hang on. She's like management, isn't she? Honestly, she'll have me on a sewing machine stitching non-stop. Never give me a break. I was answering Jay's question. But as you asked the question, Jay, well, if I blow the stop whistle and I've got to be a little bit firm with the dog and it drops down on all fours, literally drops to the floor, then that's not a problem with me to begin with, because I guarantee when it's on birds and a bird's shot with a stop whistle, it won't be dropping right down. It'll be up on its haunches going, I want that bird. Do you want to pick it? Do you want to pick it? And so they soon come out of that. So they may start off on a drive, you know, sitting right down. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. I don't make them, I don't say lie down. I don't go lay down. But at the end of the day, it doesn't bother me too much. That doesn't know. They soon get out of it. But what you've got to understand, Jay, your dog is a big bloody Pluto baby. And what's happening is he's at that naughty stage where he wants to push boundaries, and yet he's at that playful stage still where he's a baby, right? So his testosterone is up there, and it's like, whoa, who do you think you are? And then like, okay, I'll be your best friend. That's him. It's just his nature. Got him to a T. He is so funny. And then he does a burst of energy, and you think, oh, he has got it, and then he just freaking flops right down, lays on his side, and starts chewing the grass. In some ways, he's more laid back than Sue. And that's freaking laid back. It's a bit like Sue as well. Sometimes you ask her a question. Did you hear me? Takes a notice. Sue, did you hear me? Oh, no, sorry, I was reading this. And it's a bit like your dog at the moment, Jay. So, yeah, sometimes you've got sweaty bullets chasing them. Betty Swallocks. Okay, so is there any more questions? I mean, hang on, you lot. You've freaking gone over. 1 hour, 13 minutes.
Yeah, there's a couple from Jay.
No, I'm not answering any more Jay questions. He's had too much tonight.
There may be a important one there.
Beautiful fur babies. See, there's not trouble bloody maker, my daughter, isn't she? She's a troublemaker. How old is the dog, Chris? Yeah. What dog? What dog? How old is the dog? Which dog? Mother was worse, definitely, in the mornings. Exactly. Now the truth's coming out. Sue is an absolute cowbag in the mornings, honestly. And then she snores non-stop. And then she goes, I never slept a freaking wink last night. I think, no one else did neither. Right, come on, man, because I to be honest with you,
just one thing. I won't do the other one for Jay because it's not that important.
Where is Jay's other question?
I'm trying to find it now. I've lost it.
He's a paying customer. You've got to look after him.
Right. This is
eyes everywhere, Kate. What the freaking?
No, right, Jay Brewer. This is a big thing, Chris.
Hang on. Got it. Okay.
I don't know whether you've seen it.
Hang on. No, I haven't. Listen.
Right.
This is a big thing, Chris. Dougie caught a pigeon in the garden at a young age, and I told him off for it, and it's not out with things.
I don't think.
Yeah, you're perfectly right there. You're perfectly right there. Yeah.
Well, you might want to get that one.
Yeah. Thanks for telling me now, Jay. No, listen, Jay, it happens.
They call me Secret Santa.
Yeah, they call her Secret Santa. It happens. It happens. And at the end of the day, people make mistakes. And that's the whole point with dog training. Dogs are more forgiving than you think. And a dog will move from one home to another home. And as long as that home treats it reasonably well, it won't hold so much fear as some people say. And yet some dogs are very sensitive. And I bet you Liz can tell you that with rescue dogs. Some dogs take ages to gel with somebody, and other dogs just like wander off, and it's like as if they've never left the old owner. Remember that Blackfriars Bobby that in Scotland, and he's supposed to have died, and then he went to his grave and lay on his grave all the time. Do you know, I doubt that happened. Call me skeptical. I just think it's a myth. I don't think that if I died tomorrow, they'd want to come down. If they buried me in a freaking field, somewhere in the field there, I don't think they'd come and sit on the freaking top of the gravestone and go, this is my master, I loved him to death. I got 2 dogs buried in the rabbit pen. One bitch that had a pup stuck up her, and we lost her in pup. I love that little bitch, and I buried her in the rabbit pen. And not one dog has ever stopped in the rabbit pen and gone, "There's a dog under here." Right? I just don't think that is the case, you know. And then the other one died of old age, and that one's buried in the rabbit pen, because I had some great times in the rabbit pen with them, and I thought, well, so now I'll bury in the rabbit pen. But you know, if they're bulldozers to this place, there's not dogs all over the frigging place. We haven't had that many dogs die over the years, have we, Sue? Because we've always sold them on, haven't we? Yeah, we've had them die, obviously, don't get me wrong, but not in our hands, because when a dog reaches about 6 or 7, sometimes I just go, you know, I'm going to give you a home life now, or sell him off reasonably cheap, and let him have a nice life. We do that forever home, and that's what we do on the odd occasion. And people love them. They love them because they've got no faults. They've got no faults at all, and they make brilliant pets because they just love that life of being with someone. And that's what they do. Out in that kennel, they pine to be with me when they are with me. But do you know what? If you go out there during the day when it's hot, they're not pining. They're upside down, legs open, freaking sunbathing. They are, and they just sleep. They sleep absolutely fine, don't they, Sue?
Yeah. And
we don't get no barking until morning times, because they know it's time to go out. And then that bloody Raffer is like, he's like top leader. He kicks everybody else off, going, "Come on, it's time to go, we're all going out." He winds everybody up, and then they'll go charging out, and then there's no noise. Once you hit the field, there's no noise, but there is from the kennel to the field gate, and that's where the craziness is. But I don't worry about it, because at the end of the day, I'm controlling the environment that I'm working in and what I'm doing. So anyway, that's 40 people here, 33 likes. I'd like to see some more thumbs up, please, and perhaps a few thumbs down, but we know we're going to get thumbs down when they listen to this live feed, because I've gone off topic slightly on a few occasions. But guess what? If they watch it, well, thank you very much indeed for not coming in and having a bitch fight with me, because if you had, I would have ripped your freaking head off in here, because I enjoy a bit of a challenge. But guess what? I don't want that. But I would have been polite with you if you'd asked me sensible questions. But if you're not, people like Karen, I don't think he's thrown anyone out yet. I think he'd love to throw somebody out, or say, "Hey, wind your neck in, else I'm going to ban you." And so, and Andy's in here as well. And so, yeah, thanks very much, you guys, for watching me back. And it's a shame, really, because I wasn't hoping. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't hoping. Let's not blow it all out of proportion. I was just saying that, to be honest with you, I thought there would be a few people in here giving a shit tonight, just looking for a cat fight, but they're not here. Perhaps they didn't want to come in and meet the odd bunch. So when I say the odd bunch, you lot, not me. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for your support. You've been absolutely fantastic. You've acted like adults rather than children, and I thank you. And hopefully we can just move on, can't we, and not worry about everything else in life. All animals know their order. Piglets someplace when sows and cows line up for order and go milking. Exactly. Nice pup, Stephen, Logan, friend later. I Sue, hope you and both staying strong. Richard Gould says that. Mike F, Chris, it's okay to put a go pup in a coat. Yeah, we've done that one. We've done that one. We've done Jay's. Stephen Logan, everyone remember Jay, yeah. Lovely Sue, who won the squirrel skin. I knew that bastard would start. Sue, who won the squirrel skin? Who won the squirrel skin? She says she's gonna give it to a bloke called Simon Spruce for his freaking obsessional behaviour. So Simon Spruce, you won the squirrel skin. If you send me your address in private, not on here, because you'll have. Is that? Do you know that picture of you, Simon? Is that really you? Or is that John Wayne? It looks like John Wayne from here. Get off your horse and drink your milk. So give us your. He's a milkman, isn't he? Or is that the other one, Stephen, whatever? I can't remember. So there you go. You send me your address. We'll send you that squirrel skin. I only did it for a laugh because I couldn't believe the really rubbish coming out with lately. Don't get involved like you asked to do things. Said get on with this lives. Exactly. But it's easy to be judgmental. It's so easy to be judgmental and tell me what to do, isn't it, when you're not in my situation? But I do understand perhaps why you're saying it. Is it okay for a lab to chase a flying bird? Oh, we've done that one. Anyway, we've done them, haven't we, guys? You know, we've done them. So come on, let's move on, shall we? I'm glad Simon has won it. Great choice, Sue. There you go. Good night, everyone. Bollocks you all, and I will see you next week if you're around. Stay safe and don't go out with those dogs getting them burnt out. Look at Simon Spruce, he's there with the bloody moon. There you go, Simon. Nice chatting. Catch you all next week. Oh, I might catch you Sunday on the live stream for Patreon customers only. Cheers, everyone. Chris Upton signing off. Bollocks to the lot of you. 35 thumbs up. You Barcelonian bargain hunters.